How's it going, guys? Kyle here with 4MR Ranch, and today I'm going to cover a topic that I have been wanting to do for a while, but I just haven't got around to, at least not directly. So out here on the ranch, and first of all, sorry about the audio, guys. It's really windy, although it's pretty much triple digits here in San Antonio. I'd be dying without this breeze, but you also hear some noise in the background. Those are the cows. This is an active cattle ranch, and that's part of why we actively try to stay on top of the hog problem that we have here, because they will absolutely decimate the food supply for our livestock. So if you have animals at home and you know they get kind of ornery when they want food, well, cows are like that, but tenfold. So they're hanging around, making a lot of noise. So apologies about that, but getting back on topic here, I just want to talk to you about what we are currently using behind the scenes. So we do a ton of hog hunting, at least 1 to 2 hunts every single week. Sometimes it could be 3 to 5, and we do that every single week of the year. Granted, in the summer, it's a lot less enjoyable than when it's cooler out. So I wanted to just talk to you about what we currently use. Real quick, before we get into the video, I gotta give a shout out to the channel sponsors, Warhammer Armaments. They dabble in all things night vision, thermal, and the gadgets and gizmos that are needed to successfully hunt hogs. Optics Planet is also a huge channel sponsor. Discount code 4MRR is gonna save you 7% site-wide. They have all kinds of optics, obviously, to help you successfully take on your hog problem as well. So shout out to them. And then the 4MR Ranch Patreons. Can't thank you guys enough. If you aren't aware, I'm getting really involved with Patreon, giving stuff away first of the month, every month. I highly encourage you to get in there and check it out. I talk about stuff behind the scenes and in advance, and that's the best place to communicate with me. I can't respond to every single comment, so if you want more of my time and attention, if you have urgent needs, Patreon is the best way to get in touch with me. So in the most logical order I can think of, I'll talk about what I currently use to hog hunt, kind of working our way from the outside in. We get in our vehicles, it's either in my uncle's truck or in my truck. So a 4x4 pickup truck of some sort. We don't use our side-by-sides or anything like that because it makes too much noise. The hogs in our area, all the neighbors and us, obviously, we're all putting pressure on them, so they're incredibly skittish. So right now, probably our biggest asset is actually the Dark 30 Defiance 640 PTZ camera. Now, PTZ meaning pan, tilt, zoom. So it's literally a vehicle-mounted thermal camera. Comes with a kit that has every kind of mounting configuration you can think of. I do have a full dedicated review on the channel if you want to learn more about it, but that's probably first and foremost been our biggest asset lately. The reason being is before we'd have to drive around the vehicle, occasionally turn headlights on, try to navigate the best we can. We have mesquite brush out here, and it is no joke, especially the summer months like we're in right now. The thorns, they dry out and they will go through a standard street tire. So we have some heavier, I have the BF Goodrich KO2s, they're a 10-ply tire. They seem to hold up pretty good. But using the Dark 30 Defiance 640 camera, we can navigate without turning the headlights on, first and foremost. So it helps us with the stealth factor. We can see things, no BS, 600 yards away. We've identified packs of hogs, and then we can kind of play the wind and come into the area in the most strategic path possible. Whereas before, what we were having to do is kind of drive a couple hundred yards, get out, open doors, roll windows down, and scan with the handheld thermal scanner, so we are still spoiled with that we were using that. But now that we have the vehicle mounted option, first of all, it's a lot more comfortable. It's made us a little bit lazy, but hey, that's what technology is all about, making things easier, making you work less hard. But it's just helped us be stealthier, both with light pollution, noise pollution, and scent pollution, because the hogs, they can smell things deep underground, so scent is a huge factor when we're trying to go after them. So being able to keep the doors closed, windows up, and have everything we need at our fingertips from inside the cab has been an absolute game changer. And every single time we've implemented the Dark 30 Defiance 640 camera, we have found hogs. And it begs the question that how many groups of hogs or packs of hogs have we just scared away over the years that we thought it was a night where there was no activity? I honestly don't know, because every time we've used it, we drive the perimeter of the property and we've seen things. And because we can strategically come in, that has been the biggest game changer to date. Like, honestly, if I had to pick one of my favorite tools of the collection that we're talking about today, that is one. If I had to, get rid of some and just keep a few, that would definitely be on the keep list. It is absolutely critical to our success lately. So I did kind of allude to handheld thermals. So what I'm actually currently using is the ATN Blaze Hunter. It is a 3.5 base power. It has a large objective lens, and it is a 640 core. And most importantly, it has a laser rangefinder. So if you're not familiar with thermal or digital night vision, digital optics in general, depth perception can be very tricky. So the cows, like what I'm looking at behind the camera right now, there's calves mixed in with the cows. At 400 yards, it is incredibly difficult to differentiate a calf and a hog. I mean, it's next to impossible. So what we do is, first of all, with the laser rangefinder built into the thermal devices we're using, it lets us kind of figure out, okay, that, you know, that's this distance, this is kind of the size we should expect that kind of animal to be, and it lets us narrow things down. So it helps us be safer and more effective. But honestly, I have a lot of handheld thermals, and this ATN in particular, this is probably one of the best devices that they produce, because the performance is literally nuts. I was blown away. I know some of you guys like to bash ATN. I'm not going to get into all that, but this, of any of their products to give a chance, the Blaze Hunter is definitely higher on that list. Now, sometimes I will just throw my handheld thermal devices in my pocket. If I think it's gonna be a longer hunt, or if I'm acting more as a guide, because we do take guests out here from time to time. So if I'm gonna be more of a guide, or it's gonna be a longer night, I like to use a chest rig. So this is a chest rig by Gear. Reason I like it is because I can just mount stuff to me. So I usually keep a light on the rig. I'll keep a couple extra magazines of the hunting ammo that I'm zeroed for. If I am running a handgun of sorts, then I can keep an extra mag here. I don't have a bunch of stuff in my pockets, and I don't like to keep a ton of stuff on my belt. Like, I'm not wearing an actual belt rig hunting, because I'm getting in and out of my vehicle and it's just bulky, and if it's not necessary, I try to be as minimal. So this is about as crazy as I get. I do keep some medical stuff on here in case accidents happen. I can hopefully address that. But the biggest thing is that the chest rig has more space for thermals and gadgets and gizmos, lights. Keep extra batteries in case anything goes down. It sucks to ruin a hunt. So another thing that, you know, in terms of gadgets and gizmos, I keep some of these Unity, the non-IR, so the actual visible ones, although you can use IR. Sometimes I do hunt with night vision. I'll get into that later. These I love for if we take out a hog and we're gonna go chase another group or move on to a different part of the property and we plan on circling back later. These are incredible. I'll turn it on like a green strobe, put it on top of the animal, and then move on so that we can come back and find them. Incredible marker lights. So like I said, gadgets and gizmos that over the years, after doing things the hard way, these are how I'm currently hunting in 2025. So just trying to give you guys ideas and really just documenting what we're doing, how we're doing it, and why. On that, I usually keep a couple multi-tools, extra batteries, CR123s, AA's, whatever devices I have with me, I have a few extra batteries, especially 18650s. If I'm using the handheld thermals, sometimes they're battery hogs, so I like to have extra batteries in case it goes down. I'm not having to baby the devices I'm using, worrying about battery life. So next is probably what I imagine to be the meat and potatoes of what we use. So it's always going to be some kind of thermal optic on either a 16-inch. These are both 18-inch uppers. I get a little bit more velocity out of them. We currently use predominantly 5.56. We've had the 300 blackout phases. You know, we've shot some hogs out here with 6.8, the more oddball calibers. We always use tripods, so I'll get into that here in a second. But because we do this a lot and we don't get overly nervous or overly excited, we stay pretty calm. I'm not saying we're the best shots. We miss as many shots as we make contact with. But in general, a well-placed 5.56 shot, we like to go for headshots or neck shots with an 18-inch barrel, those kind of velocities. We close the gap to 100, 120 yards at the furthest. These do the job. Ammo is plentiful and ammo is cheap. So I'm not trying to spend an extra $3, $4 a round on some fancy stuff. That's just how we roll. So spoiler alert, because both of these are in the testing phases. So yes, when I do thermal optic reviews, I'm actually out here hunting with them. So these are our two hunting rigs that are in rotation right now. We have the SIG SV50, and we do have a Pulsar Thermion, the second generation. This is their fancy flagship with the 1024 core sensor. So excited about this. Both of these, this one's about 90 days in. We're about ready to drop the review. This one's about halfway. Both are doing great. Both have taken a lot of hogs. One thing I want to point out about both of these is they have the built-in laser rangefinder. Like I was saying earlier, it really helps us gauge depth. So when we're scouting, we'll use handheld, but once we are actively pursuing a group of hogs, there's not always time to, set these down, go to your handheld. Sometimes it's nice to just set the tripod down and then look through your optic. You can range things, figure out what's in the background. That's another huge perk to thermal that I didn't really cover earlier, but since we do have so many cows and so do our neighbors, thermal is our preferred technology for optics, because anything alive in the background will be glowing and we can know that we're making a safe shot. On the opposite side of that, if there's a house, you know, and we're in white hot, well, those houses usually show up as pretty solid black because the air conditioning is running, or vice versa in the wintertime. We're trying to do the best we can to make safe shots. We're in South Texas, it's really flat out here, and we know we're responsible for every round that we send down range. So these are the current optics that we're using. So one last little detail is that we never hunt unsuppressed. Reason being is that we are fortunate that our property is a decent size, so if we shoot suppressed on one end of the property, there is still a chance that there will be activity on the other end. So that's part of it. But the other part of it is, before we used to hunt with cans, if we took some unsuppressed shots on a group of hogs, it would be days until they show back up. Whereas when we're shooting at them suppressed, usually they will show back up the next day. On top of that, a lot of times they don't know where you are. They are really running more from the actual pop noise of when you tag their friends, and more often than not, they actually close the gap to you and you get some follow-up shots at a closer and sometimes easier distance. Now, the other side of it is that when I miss, I typically know that I miss because the round hits the dirt. But when I hit a hog, there's a very distinct sound to when a 5.56 round just thumps that hog in the chest. It kind of sounds like something hitting a big empty barrel. It's very distinct. Once you hear it once, you know what it is, and it's very obvious. So when I am taking other people hunting or people are with me, we all kind of know, oh, that was a hit. Like he just made contact on that hog. Nice shot.
Got him. Tag him. Hold on. No more. He's done.
And the last note is that hearing protection is obviously a huge benefit as well. Since we do hunt suppressed, I typically do not wear additional hearing protection, which allows me to be more aware of my surroundings. For one, I can hear the wildlife, and even if you use digital electronic hearing protection, it's still not as comfortable to wear that for extended period of time compared to just having your ears exposed. So especially summer months here, if I have to wear earmuffs and it's 95 degrees even when the sun goes down, it's not nearly as good of a time as just having my ears breathing. So huge perk to hunting suppressed. It is legal for hogs because they are pests. You know, just be aware of your local laws and regulations for taking animals suppressed, and with electro-optics for that matter. So there's two kinds of tripods we use out here. First of all, this is old Trusty. This is actually a Reaper rig from Cope Jaeger Industries. I've had it for like 6-7 years, and I throw this thing in the bed of my truck. I don't pay any attention to being gentle with it, and so it's gone through hell and it's still running. I use it all the time, and it's just on like a basic slick aluminum tripod. So that is what I'm currently running. This is one that's just going to clamp your hand guard, but what's all the rage lately is these Arca based handguard mounts and tripods. So we do have some Arca ball heads as well, and this is what my uncle likes to use. This is his current rig that he's running, and so it's pretty solid. The advantage is that yes, maybe this disconnects a little bit faster. For me, this is a little bit more versatile, so that's why I'm still kind of leaning on this, but he's all big on the Arca. Again, just options. There's a lot of options now, so it's kind of user preference. There's no wrong or right, it's just what your preference is. One thing that we both do is once we get out of the vehicle and we are actively tracking hogs, our platforms stay locked into the tripods, and literally our method of tracking the hogs down is we'll close up the tripod, we'll throw it over our shoulder like this, and I will walk through the field scouting hogs with it over my shoulder. It's just easier, and when I want to stop and scout, I just set it down and I peek through it, I range them, figure out where the group's moving, where the wind is, all that stuff. But once we exit the vehicle, our preference is to leave them locked into the tripod and throw it over our shoulder. It's easier to put the weight on my shoulder. Sometimes we've walked over a mile. The hogs are real erratic and they're going from tree to tree, eating acorns that are dropping. So it could be a long hike, and I don't want to carry the tripod and rifle for a long time. Yes, I get it, you can sling it, cool, we do, but the easiest thing for me is just bundle it together, throw it over the shoulder. So that's, again, how we personally do things. Everyone's got their own strategies, but that's ours. Now, when it comes to tripods, if you are down to spend the extra money and you want to lighten up your load. This is a nice carbon fiber tripod, for example, whereas I told you mine was aluminum. So this is a lot heavier of a setup. My uncle hates using mine. He has his preferences, and this is stupid lightweight. So this whole setup is probably like 7.5, 8 pounds, and it's not bad. So if the hunt ends up dragging out, you're not gonna be, you know, your arms and shoulders aren't gonna be burning nearly as much as a little bit heavier of a setup. So something to keep in mind there too, if you're trying to select that hunting tripod. Carbon fiber is typically a little bit more, but those ounces are less, and ounces definitely add up, especially when you get into the bigger digital or electro optics. And for those that are gonna ask, I do use night vision for hunting from time to time. So here is my kind of main squeeze for that. This is a 14.5 by Warhammer Armaments that they built me. I will go back and forth between passive and active aiming, do all that stuff. It really depends on the situation. I've taken hogs with both passive aiming through an optic as well as active aiming with the IR illuminator. So this is the Sentinel from 3EIR, great device. This is an Aimpoint Acro. Not the best for night vision, but it works and it's piggybacked. So for those that aren't aware, you cannot see through an LPVO with night vision devices. That's not what this video is about. But someone's gonna ask a question, do you hunt with night vision? Because I'm into lasers and stuff. Yes, I do. Night vision is just not as optimized for hunting, in my personal opinion. Roast me in the comments if you want. But if you are going to be on a dedicated hunt for wildlife, a dedicated thermal optic is going to be a better user experience, in my opinion. Night vision is really cool because you can navigate with it, but your field of view is what you're seeing with your eye, whereas with these thermal optics, they're going to be a little bit more zoomed in. And again, the benefits of being able to scan the horizon, things are going to glow and pop out at you a lot more obviously. So it takes some of the stress off of me, knowing that, hey, this was a safe shot. I'm not worried about rounds going towards neighbors, livestock, or property. So, but I do use night vision from time to time. It is fun. I just don't think it is the optimal technology for going after hogs. So other than that, that's the gist of it. The after the hunt thing is we usually have a game crane attached to the bumper of whatever truck we're taking out, so that if it's a really heavy hog, we can hoist it up. If it's a good eater, we do clean them. We do keep the meat. We offer friends and family meat. We don't try to let them go to waste. Unfortunately, a lot of times they're not good eaters. They're nasty, especially the really big, tough ones. We primarily hunt them so that they don't tear up our oats, our, any agricultural products that we're trying to grow here to feed our cows, and they absolutely decimate bales of hay, which are very expensive, especially this time of year when it's dry. So we're doing it more as pest control. Do we eat all of them? Not necessarily, but we are trying to do what's in the best interest for our property here and our livestock. So that's just a little tidbit for after the hunt. But yeah, other than that, like I said, I haven't really done a video like this. I thought I would just share, just kind of speak candidly. This isn't scripted. This is just me standing out here. In about another hour is going to be optimal time to start driving around looking for hogs. Just wanted to talk to you guys. If you like these kind of videos, let me know. Leave a comment. I'm happy to talk about other topics on the channel, some of the stuff I do behind the scenes, the equipment I use, my logic behind it. And if you have some ideas, if this sparks some ideas, please share those as well. Let's share the wealth, right? So if you are still here, I do want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And as always, have a good one.
Okay, ready? I smoked mine. He's going down. I got a shot. Got him.